Okay, so let's take a look at this little 3D printer that I picked up off of Kijiji. Now, I bought this used. It is a old stock item. It's probably about 3 years old. It is a older 3D printer. The reason I've gone with this is I have older equipment. So I want something that will pretty much work out of the box, not be a big headache to work with, and something that didn't require a lot of investment with time and money. So again, it was a nice local pickup. The buyer I got it off was Phil. Phil was a very nice fellow, gave me a quick little tour of the machine as well. And also a tour of the studio, which does quite a good impression of the Incredible Hulk. KIJIJI is always a fun little thing to do. You never know who you're going to meet. Let's take a look. So I think new these were around $1,200 Canadian. Whenever I'm quoting money, you gotta remember it's in Canadian funds, and most people don't understand that there's also a cost in bringing anything in. Not just on the currency exchange, but also on the duty. And usually there's service fees attached to it as well. So it gets to be a bit of a misleading number when you quote something out. A lot of people don't seem to realize that. Or they forget to mention it. Plus there's always taxes. You got your HST there. Let's have a little look. So very nicely packaged. This is the original package it came in. Unopened. That's a nice little piece of packing material I will use later, so we will recycle that. Okay, and this is going to just be a rather quick and simple, no fancy editing, no fancy lighting, just demonstrating what's here. So don't critique the audio levels. It's off of an old iPhone. So again, you get what you pay for. This is free. So on the inside, lovely little bag, nicely packaged. I don't have anything really to benchmark it to, so I can't say that any other 3D printer is packaged any worse or any better. But so far, I'm pretty impressed by this. Okay, so you get a little SD card, which is nice. I'm assuming that's going to have proprietary software on it, probably a couple files to work with. We got a couple little screws. Looks like we've got a cover. So again, we'll probably do that during the assembly process. Looks like a couple little needles for clearing out, I'm going to assume, the extruder. Yet I'm new to 3D printing, so if I don't have the terms correct, it just is what it is until I read the manual. Yeah. So, looks like if we're taking a look here, it looks very nicely documented, full color. Okay, so we've got screenshots for the settings on the touch screen, which is nice. Looks like it's even got a little breakdown on troubleshooting and leveling the bed. Now there's also a lot of information out there when you're looking at the ANYCUBIC. This is, again, an older model. I don't think it's still available, so if you're out there shopping, you manage to find one that's used, that's not assembled, is the way I would go. Just so you're not dealing with someone else's jerry-rigging or an attempt to get it up and running properly. Oh, looks like it passed the quality test. That's kind of nice. I'm going to put that up on my board as kind of a commemorative thing. Again, nice little documentation there. Kind of reminds me of the Rolex. It comes with a little box item on that when it's a knockoff. But again, it is nice. Little power cord, looks like a standard item, which I like, so it's not proprietary. So if I end up having to get something that needs to be a little bit longer or a little bit shorter, I can probably pull out of my mystery bin of wiring and find one, which is great. I think that is the little bracket for putting the spool for the resin. go on there. Auto leveling device. So looks like it's that little sensor. It's done up in a nice aluminum. So again, something we'll do on the build. Okay, looks like we got a little nozzle. It's nice. So we get a spare one. Again, I don't know other 3D printers or other manufacturers whether or not you get an extra. This one is provided one, which is spectacular because I will probably end up clogging or damaging the original one because I'm new. So thank you very much. Makes sense. I was going to buy an extra component, so it does save a little bit of money there. This is from 3 years ago, 2020. I think this printer came out in 2018. The reason why I liked it is it does seem to be fairly current, even though it's not in production. The basic design of the machine looks to be what you would pick up at any other type of item, right? So there are no surprises there. Those are the little braces for the side. Those are the screws for, I guess, the upper deck. So we'll need those later on during the assembly process. I like the fact that they're individually bagged. So again, very easy to figure out what you're doing here. Comes with a pair of nice little gloves, so you don't get your fingerprints on the assembly. Looks like I got a USB to micro USB adapter. So I don't quite understand that, but oh, it's got a little side port there to put the full-size SD. So that is kind of nice. So if you're transferring files and your laptop doesn't have that little plug-in port, you have one. So that's good thinking. You know, it's not an expensive item, but it does save me going out looking for one. We got a standard printer cord. At least it looks pretty standard. This one's in a nice decorative blue and kind of flashy there, so that's kind of nice. It'll also give you a little scraping tool for, I guess, getting the bed clear after you've printed something. So again, a nice little item there. Looks like we got a little toolkit. Looks like we've got a little micro screwdriver, a handy dandy little wrench. Nice thing is you can repurpose this afterwards to work on your car. So it's kind of cool. We got a pair of little wire snippers. So I guess if we need to cut the red wire, pretty good there. Over to the top here, we got a set of Allen keys. Now, as a precautionary thing, what I did is I thought it would be a good idea to invest in a little toolkit, which I got from Dollarama. This was $4.50 in 2013. Their prices seem to be moving up, so rush out real quick and buy one of these. But it's got little Allen adapters down below for this little T-handle. So this might be a little bit easier to work with than these. I don't think it makes a big difference, but I thought there might be something in the kit here that I wouldn't have the tool for, and this seems to have everything. So again, for $3.50 or $4.50, it's a good investment, just as a reference point. So again, I'm not doing editing on this, so I do apologize if there's little spots where it's going to be a little quiet or I'm just reflective in my thoughts. Okay, there's that nice fresh smell of industrial equipment and perhaps a little capsule air from China in here, so it'll make you feel like you're an international traveler. So it is kind of nice in that regards. Looks like they that is the strangest piece of packaging. So it's not one solid piece. It looks like they actually physically built this. So it's foam glued together in a kind of a custom way, and it looked like there'd be some effort involved in doing this. So I guess thank you very much for doing the packaging. That's really well done. Okay, so again, this seemed to be pretty much a standard design, at least what's available in the marketplace today. And this is why I went with this particular unit, even though it's a little older. So there is a certain level of obsolescence to it, but again, I'm still working with Windows 10. My laptop that I'm planning to use this as a workstation with and to do work on is an i7, so it is an older unit. It's by no means unusable, but I wanted to kind of keep things within a certain budget range because I'm fairly new at this, and it could be a hobby that I'll continue with, which means I'll invest a little more money and time into it, or it might be a project that kind of goes off to the side a little bit because maybe it's not as interesting as I think until I get into it. So as an entry point, this particular unit was about $750, what I could find on eBay. Then plus shipping from states, and then plus your taxes, and of course there's going to be a charge at the border for it. So we're going to hit that over $1,000 mark pretty quick. For a used unit, that would be questionable when it came to how it was packaged or how it was maintained. So this is why I went with one on Kijiji. This one turned out to be reasonably local. It was about an hour and a half drive. And again, the buyer was very informative. He had set these up as, I guess, a printer farm, or he had 3 or 4 going at the time. This one, I think, was just tossed to the side as a spare. And then I think he just went ahead and upgraded, and this was kind of one that got lost in the garage and he found. And at least that's the story that I'm assuming was there. And I picked it up for a very, very fair price. I didn't steal it, but as far as the bargain is there, I did have to pay a premium for it. But I thought the buyer seemed reasonable, and the packaging was well done. And I thought, well, why not work with something that's brand new out of the box? And if there's anything that's kind of a fault on this, it's going to be a manufacturing issue. And there's lots of information out there on this particular unit as far as dealing with the flaws or the production items that was done back in the day. And they're all pretty minor, so it's stuff that would be very easy to work with. So again, more packaging, very well done. This is a little tricky. Okay, so this is your printer head. It looks like, wow, spectacular packaging. I'm gonna tell you that. I'm impressed with that. And again, I don't know if every 3D printer is packaged along this line or not, but they've actually gone ahead and looks like they've cut the foam pieces individually. They've glued them together so it's nice and tight. So it's not moving anywhere during shipping. So if you're buying one of these, or you bought one of these, if they put as much time and energy into actual boxing this as they did on the build, it's pretty impressive. Now, unfortunately, I'm the type of guy that likes to hang on to all his packaging. So it means it's going to go into the storage locker I have, and I'll probably never see it again, but in the event that I end up selling the machine or having to store it, it's always nice to be able to put it back into its original box and make sure all the components go back to where they're at. So again, nice aluminum design. Looks like each corner has a very well built little corner brace out of it. Looks to be a really strong ABS plastic. Like, it's solid. It's got a nice little design on it with a little bit of yellow just to dress it up a little bit. So it looks very commercial. Everything looks to be properly attached. Nothing is really glaring as far as in an incorrect position. Everything looks really good. So again, we're going to do the assembly on this later. So I'm going to put this aside. Okay, so there is a little bit of packing oil in there. Nothing to be concerned about, I don't think. But if you're, I think that's why they gave you those blue gloves, which I probably should have put on, but I'll survive that. Not a big deal. Okay, so it looks like we got a little instructions here on how to actually set up the bed, which is nice. So let's see, again, we've got a nice little styrofoam, well not styrofoam, it's like a foam structure here, and everything's been nice and tight and glued in. So again, great job on that, guys. Oh, and it is massive. Now, when I was moving this thing in and out of the car, the weight I would describe it as, I don't know if you guys are familiar with it, but the old Power PCs from Apple, they're like 32 pounds, 40 pounds for the American folks. So it is heavy. It's not a light duty printer by any stretch of the imagination. And all the reviews seem to mention that as well. So yes, we got a little thing of fuel. Again, nice, it's tightly sealed. It's got the gel silica in there. So again, this should still be usable even though it's about 4 years old. Now, Phil also sold me a spool as well, so I do have a fresh spool to work with. The nice thing is because he's been using these already, he had a supply of components. He seemed pretty knowledgeable about the whole thing. He had a couple other ones that he had kind of there, and he seemed to infer that this was the better out of the group. So again, big giant foam core. No mystery to do paperwork. No help me, I'm stuck in the assembly line. No little note from anyone there. Okay, so I'm going to put the box aside. Now generally on the box, it's got the markings as far as directions, just to keep the unit dry. I do have the tracking from, I guess, an international shipper off to the side there. Again, made in China and shipped in from China. So I would have bought Canadian, but I don't think there is a Canadian 3D printer. Interesting, if anyone's out there doing manufacturing, these do seem to be pretty unique. I don't think they're going to be that rare in the next coming years. I think more and more people are going to get into the hobby. You'd have an advantage when it comes to shipping costs, so just be aware of that. So again, nice big unit. Very pleasantly surprised with the amount of gear that you receive as far as in the box. So that's pretty impressive from that standpoint. The instructions seem to be pretty clear. There are some very helpful YouTube videos on how to assemble this unit as well. I think it's pretty straightforward. I'm going to put it together. I might shoot a little video of that as well. But because there's so much out there as far as what the assembly process is, and I'm fairly new at this, I think most people will want to go to one of the regular reviewers or one of the folks out there that have done it on a regular basis to be able to see what's going on. So I hope you enjoyed the unboxing video of it. Again, it seems to be a very well constructed unit. Again, this is an ANYCUBIC. I don't think it's in production anymore. I think it was originally from 2018-19. Again, I picked it up in 2013, beginning of the year. It seems to be a very nice quality unit as far as the initial unboxing is concerned.